All right, welcome everyone to our Gut Health Info Night. I wanted to just introduce myself. My name is Leah Carlson. I have been studying gut health for about 4 years now. When my friend Emily posted about these supplements that I had no knowledge about, um, but it seemed really interesting, and it wasn't something that I've ever heard a doctor say, and it wasn't something that I've really ever heard my family talk about or anything. And so when I looked into the science behind it, it really made a lot of sense. And so I just want to kind of share my story about gut health and how it's affected me. um, so when I started Plexus, which is a gut health company, I did a lot of research into why gut health is so important. And what I learned is that it really, gut health is linked to so many things. So when you say gut health, like I didn't even know what that meant. I'm like, what does that even mean? So gut health really refers to like what's going on in your intestines. It's not just digestive stuff. Like there's a lot more than that. There's nerve endings in there that send signals to your brain. That's where your nutrients are absorbed, and that's where your body gets, its immune system. It's all linked to that. Hormones are also linked to gut health. Um, but so when I looked into it, I noticed that Plexus's like main system, which is called the triplex, it really focuses on gut health as a main, like the first main thing, but then it also links inflammation and blood sugar balance. So when you link all those things together and really get to the root of those, it has amazing results. So I just want to share my story real quick about how that has affected me in getting to the root of those three things. So when I started, I was 36 weeks pregnant. I started because I was completely exhausted. I'm pretty sure I wasn't diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I had adrenal fatigue. I was so tired that when I would stand up to like cook in the kitchen, I would like shake. Like I'd have to sit down every 10 minutes because my body was just so exhausted all the time. Um, but I thought, oh, I'm just pregnant. I'm tired. I have, 4 kids. That's life. I was also very worried all the time. I would go down slippery slope of worrying about, my kids and things that might happen to them if they do certain things. And just like, I just thought it was normal, honestly, because that's just who I was. But that's anxiety. That's one of the main things that Plexus has really helped me with. And I had no idea that anxiety is linked to gut health as well. So it's helped me so much with anxiety. It's really helped me to realize when I'm going down that road of overly worrying and being anxious. It's also helped with my sleep. I sleep so much deeper, and I sleep just like the right amount for my body, and I can tell when I've had enough sleep, and I just wake up and it's not a struggle anymore. I've also lost some weight, which is amazing, and it's kind of like a byproduct of getting to the root of all these issues. And I've had my foot pain go away. I've had plantar fasciitis. That's my foot pain. Plantar fasciitis is foot pain, but also sciatic pain. I was thinking sciatic when I said that. My sciatic pain went away as well. And so many things have been helped by just addressing these three root causes. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention is that I did mention that immune system is linked to the gut, but with all of the crazy, virus stuff going around, it's so important for our bodies to be able to fight these sicknesses off. And so if we're eating junk and if we're, just doing not great habits and not paying attention to our bodies, and cleaning it out, like our bodies won't be able to fight it. So I want to turn the time over to Rebecca Flores. She is going to explain to us with a very cool demonstration, I couldn't think of the word, how, like, what's going on in our guts and why it's so important to address it. So Rebecca, and she's going to share her story a little bit too.
Hello. Like she said, my name is Rebecca, and I'm happy to be here and share my story with you. I love sharing my story. So, like Leah, I was very tired about 3.5 years ago. I was working full time as a teacher. I had a 1.5-year-old at home, and I was just tired all the time. And I kept thinking, there's got to be a better way. I need to get healthy because I don't want to live like this anymore. And that was pretty much my biggest kind of symptom that I thought I needed to address. And so Leah started posting about these things that she started taking, and it took me about, I think it probably took 6 or 8 months for me to finally agree for her to come over and tell me about it. And unlike her, I did not do any research. I sort of vaguely remember what she told me the first time she came over, but I thought, I am ready to try anything, and this feels right. And so I went ahead and ordered for both myself and my husband, and we started on the pink drink, the probiotic, the magnesium BioCleanse, and then the X Factor, which is the multivitamin. We started on those 4 products. And within 10 days, I felt a huge difference in my energy levels. At school, after lunch, usually I would just want to crash and crawl under my desk and take a nap. And that's not good when you have 30 teenagers staring at you all afternoon. And so for the first time after about 10 days of starting Plexus, I was able to get up and teach just the same that I had that morning. It was an amazing change in the way that I felt. And 2 months later, I was pregnant with my son. And I looked at my husband and said, what are we taking? Because we had been trying to get pregnant for a while again. And so that's when I started to do that research that Leah was talking about. That's when I started to do it, because I wanted to know what was happening inside of my body that allowed my body to do something that we had been wanting for a while. And so I learned pretty much that hormones were what was afflicting me. I had been diagnosed with a hormone issue, polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, when I was 18. And the doctors had never told me that it was a blood sugar imbalance. And so by addressing that with the pink drink and the other things, my body was able to start its healing. And so 3.5 years later, I feel great still. I've been able to totally address the PCOS symptoms just with Plexus. I have regular periods, no cramping. I ovulate regularly every month, which is a huge, that is huge for my body. And I also have been able to address some arthritis that I have in my hands. Thank you, Mom, for that. And it's helped me with arthritis that's in my fingers decrease that inflammation, and that's also huge. There's some other things. My husband has also lost weight. He's able to address some digestive issues and be regular. And with my kids, I feel like my kids have really healthy immune systems, and that is so important these days. So that's just a little bit of my story. And I want to do this demonstration for you. I feel like I'm back in school, so I'll just pretend y'all are my teenagers and I'm just talking away in front of you. I have some water here. Oh, that did some funky thing. I have a little background. So I have some water right here in this container, and this is our gut. And I'm going to put in some yeast and some sugar. So we all have yeast in our body, both good yeast and bad yeast. And then that sugar is the hidden sugar in the granola that you don't know that you eat. It's the donut you had for breakfast. It's the fruit snacks you ate with your kids. It's the bread that you had at lunch. All of the not hidden and hidden sugars that we put inside our body. And so I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to put the lid on here, and we're going to talk more about what is happening in our gut. And in a few minutes, we're going to come back to this and see what's happened to it. That's all I got right now, Leah.
Love that. It's so interesting because anyone who's made bread knows, might know what happens to it. And it's so interesting because that's what is happening in our gut, and you're probably going to be like, what? I don't get that at all, but we'll explain to you when you see it. It's very interesting, and yeah, it's just eye-opening, I feel like. Um, Next, I want to go over to April. She's going to share her story a little bit. And yeah, go for it, April.
Thank you. So when I started Plexus, I was having what I had determined was a candida overgrowth. So Rebecca is talking about this yeast, and what yeast we're talking about really is this candida yeast. Just to back up a little bit, I have a very heavy diabetic family history. My mother, her her 5 sisters, her mother, and then just based on symptoms and things, her grandmother, they're suspecting had it as well. Um, so I have this heavy diabetic background. For myself personally, gestational diabetes with 3 of my 4 pregnancies. The one that was not probably was, we treated it the same, ended up treating it the exact same way. After my 3rd pregnancy, or during my 3rd pregnancy, I started to develop very strong cravings. Not like your normal pregnancy cravings. I was craving sweets, but I needed to be eating all the time. That first trimester, I gained 30 pounds just the first trimester because I was always eating. And this was just a new sensation. I hadn't ever experienced anything quite like this. And at the end of my pregnancy, of course, gaining 60 pounds, which is normal for all of my pregnancies, I wasn't able to lose all of it like I had previously. Before I went on Weight Watchers and just stuck to a diet and everything was fine. But with after this pregnancy, those those sweets cravings, this need to eat bread, sugar, all that stuff, I was unable to stick with my goals. And so 5 years later, when I'm pregnant with my next child, I hadn't lost any weight at all. It was very frustrating. And so after my next pregnancy, diabetes again, I started to develop my son is now 2 years old, and I started to develop these reoccurring yeast infections. And that's when I started looking into gut health, because I knew that there was a connection between diabetes and blood sugar imbalance, and also this yeast that was now wreaking havoc in my life, where every month I would have a yeast infection and the doctors couldn't help prevent it. The doctors could barely take care of it, and I was kind of in desperation. But so I started that with Leah 3 years ago, and that yeast infection was gone after, and it didn't come back after that first time, and didn't come back again until I had gotten sick again with a major respiratory infection. So that was fantastic. And another byproduct, which I hadn't realized, is that when I started the products, I received there was a significant change in my mood and mental health. My mood swings, like I was no longer an angry mother. I wasn't yelling at my kids, like I could relax. But I wasn't, like Leah said, just worrying about running through these cycles. I hadn't realized how crippling my anxiety was and how much it was limiting in my life. So all of a sudden I have this new outlook on life, and it was quite awe-inspiring. And I was actually, for the first 2 years, I was just totally blown away by this change that's happened with me. And so getting my yeast under control, and that yeast overgrowth under control, made a huge difference in my food cravings. All of a sudden, I wasn't craving that food. I could make the diet changes that I needed to do to use all of my tools. I have like the supplementation, and then I have my lifestyle change. I was actually able to make lifestyle changes that I wasn't able to make before, and so I'm so grateful for that.
I love that, April. Isn't it amazing what we have learned? We've learned so much about our bodies and about what works for us and doesn't work. I think before, when when I was pregnant, I noticed that I needed to eat sugar nonstop too, just like you did. And I just thought I was listening to my body, like, I need sugar. Like, I'm gonna feed it sugar. That's what my body needs. And I didn't, I mean, I knew it wasn't healthy, but I was just like, if I don't eat sugar, I feel like I'm going to die. So I guess I'm eating sugar, you know? But it's so freeing to know why and to get that under control. So I just want to quickly talk about one of the products, and then Rebecca, how much time do you need for that to, it's ready? Okay, let's go over to Rebecca and we'll look at it.
It's starting to bubble up. I can see the bubbles starting to form. I don't know if you can see it through here, but it's like the bubbles are starting to simmer and pop in there.
Nice.
Yes.
So cool.
And I feel like I'm like, oh, that's what my stomach was doing. When I would eat dairy, for example, if I ate ice cream or drank milk, this is what my stomach would feel like an hour, not even an hour later, that bubbling up and gurgling.
Bloating right there. That's where bloating comes from, people.
Yes, for sure. I was definitely somebody who had a lot of bloating. Yes.
Yes. So what's happening in there is happening in our gut, because our bodies are born with a little bit of yeast in our gut, and it's called candida, and it's supposed to be there because our bodies need it to break it down after it dies. Just kind of morbid, right? But it has a purpose. But what happens when we add sugar to yeast? It grows out of control. So when we have such awful habits of eating sugar every day, and sugar is hidden in everything, like Rebecca said, is that yeast bubbles out of control, and it has really awful effects on our gut. I don't know if you've heard of leaky gut syndrome, but what happens with that is you have so much candida that is so corrosive, and it just starts eating like your gut lining. And so all like the food particles that are coming down start going through your gut instead of where it's supposed to go. And it floats through your body, and your body thinks it's an invader, and it starts attacking it. And so that's where autoimmune problems come, because your body starts attacking itself. So we have to get that candida out, like under control. And so that's where our probiotic comes in. It has amazing things that not like hardly any other probiotics that I've seen have. It has the tons of strains of bacteria, but those bacteria are specifically chosen to help with certain things. So my favorite one is the lactobacillus, because that really helps with like milk. Like I know if I've eaten ice cream, I'm gonna take some probiotic to help, break it down. But there's not just that. Like that's usually what most probiotics have, but ours also has an antifungal, which helps kill the candida, because that's what we need to do, is we need to get under control. And then it pairs perfectly with the BioCleanse, which is the magnesium supplement. It's kind of like the probiotic is, it's like the cleaner, it cleans out your gut, and then the BioCleanse is like the garbage truck that takes it to the curb. So it helps move the yucky stuff out. So something I didn't mention is I really struggled with constipation, and my children did too. We're like really, really bad. My daughter Anne-Marie, she had it so bad, we tried everything, and she had to get a colonoscopy to see when she was 3, and that's all it was constipation. And so yeah, we had her on Miralax for several years, and all she needed was Plexus to help her, and it's been such a huge relief. So that's what the BioCleanse is. But magnesium, I mean, you can look up magnesium. It has amazing results on so many other things. So like muscle cramps. I remember when I was pregnant, I had awful calf cramps, Charlie horses all the time. And those went away after I started. It was amazing. And then the third part, I'm going to tell you after Shannon tells her story. Will you hop on and tell your story, Shannon?
Sure. So my story is, I started because I was having some tummy issues. I've had a lot of different things that I thought were normal for me: allergies, asthma, twice a year, bronchitis. All those things to me were just normal. I wasn't even looking to address those things. Sugar cravings for me was normal. I was known in my family and friends as like the sugar queen. That was normal. I wasn't looking to address that. What I was looking to address was some stomach pains I was having. And I had not ever had them diagnosed. I'd mentioned it to my doctor, and he just kind of didn't offer any solution. He was just like, oh, okay, so you're having some stomach pains. And like wrote it in my chart, but didn't offer a solution. So I just thought, okay, well, I'll just deal with it. And the pains would keep me up at night. And I tried to track what caused it, and there didn't seem to be a pattern. I didn't know why I was having these different stomach pains. Trying to self-diagnose, I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe my gallbladder or something was wrong. I don't know. Anyway, I just knew that I needed to feel better. And I also, like Leah was talking about, had dealt with chronic constipation. At least since I was a teenager, that's when I remember thinking, well, that's my norm, you know. I knew that it wasn't supposed to be, but I mean, teenagers don't really probably spend too much time thinking about their regularity. So I just thought, well, for me, this is normal. This is how my body works. So that was always an issue. And then I had a hysterectomy. And after that, kind of a follow-up appointment, you know, told my doctor that I was having problems with constipation, and it was kind of causing some issues with how things were healing inside my body. And he said, well, you just have to fix that. If you don't fix it, you'll have to have surgery soon. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is like normal for my body. I had no idea what to do about it, because for 30 years, this has been my norm. So I started researching how to fix constipation with just naturally. And so everything that I saw said that you needed probiotics. That seemed to be kind of the running theme, was probiotics would help with the constipation issue. And so I just started looking for which probiotic to use. And right then a message popped up from Leah saying, I have a sale on probiotics today. And I said, sign me up. So I feel like that was a godsend to me. I feel like that was a blessing that was sent to me, saying, this is the one you need, here you go. And I said, thank you, Heavenly Father. So that's kind of my story. And from there, everything that I thought was normal started to get better. So I am regular now. My normal allergies are not normal anymore. I don't have allergies hardly at all. Maybe a week when it's the worst in the spring, but that's about it. My respiratory issues I've always had, my bronchitis, those are all fading away. Joint pains that I'd started noticing I was getting, because I'm just getting old, old and a little overweight. And I thought, oh, here we go. My hips hurt at night. And those are gone now. So it's just been a huge blessing to realize that getting healthy at the root of the cause of all of these issues has affected so many different parts of my life. And so what I wanted to talk about is this when you want me to talk about why I'm grateful for the knowledge? Okay. So for me, it helps me to understand and to make better choices when I know why things are happening the way they are. So I learned about the probiotics because I had done some research on that. And so I knew that was supposed to help with my digestive issues. What I didn't know is when spring rolled around, why I wasn't having allergies. I didn't know why my sugar cravings went away, because I honestly did not believe that anything would fix that. So I started doing more research and learning more. And I learned about Candida yeast, and I learned that yeast craves sugar. Well, it actually, your gut sends you those messages to eat more sugar when the yeast is wanting more. And my whole middle, I'm sure, was just one big giant bucket of yeast, because I ate sugar morning, noon, and night every single day for I don't know how many years. So it actually affected my self-esteem even, because I felt like I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have the willpower to just not eat sugar. Any diet I tried, I failed. That was really hard on me emotionally. So when I understood and started to understand the scientific reasons for having sugar cravings caused by yeast overgrowth and also caused by blood sugar imbalance. And when I started to treat those things with Plexus products, that is what they are made for, is to balance your blood sugar and kill off the candida yeast, and my sugar cravings started to go away. That was just so just an amazing feeling to me, that I didn't have to rely on just my own willpower, that I was physiologically correcting problems that were going on inside my body that were causing me to have those cravings. And so everything has just continued to get better. It just keeps getting better because I'm continuing to heal more and more every day. And going through so many years with whatever I've done that have caused these problems over many years in my life, I'm sure there's going to be many more years of healing before I can say, I'm completely better. But I can tell a huge difference. I started to feel a difference within the first week. Not everybody does, but for me, I started to feel a difference in the first week. And I have just noticed continually more and more and more improvements in my life over the time that I have been using these supplements. So that is my story, and why I am so grateful for the knowledge, and understanding how and why it works helps me to, maybe put down that sugary snack, because I know what is going to happen when I eat it, what's going to happen in my gut. And I know now that I am feeding yeast that I don't want to feed. Sometimes I still make the choice to do that, and I may take an extra probiotic at night. You got to have your ice cream every once in a while, but it helps me to make better choices because I understand it better.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing, Shannon. I love that you mentioned that it was hurting your self-esteem, because sometimes that's hard to share, but we don't realize what's happening, and it's not us that we're bad people that it's happening. It's something inside of us that we need to fix. And so I appreciate you sharing that. So we are all different people, and we've all had different results. And so what's really amazing is that it doesn't matter what health issue you're struggling with. Like, when you get to the root of those 3 issues, the inflammation, blood sugar balance, and gut health, it will have amazing results for you. I wanted to say, I want Rebecca to show us what's happening with the yeast.
I just took the lid off. It smells very yeasty. But yeah, look how much it's grown. It's almost to the top
That's
of the
so much.
Yeah, so this is what's happening in your gut as you feed sugar to that yeast.
And how much sugar did you put in there?
There was 2 tablespoons of yeast and 1 tablespoon of sugar.
Okay, so you think of how much sugar is in like a soda. It's a lot more than a tablespoon, Yeah. So
yeah, it's really amazing, and I think it's a great visual to show what's happening inside of your gut,
yes,
especially with our processed American food that has lots and lots of hidden sugar in it.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to quickly, maybe like 5 minutes, tell you one more thing, and it's about the immunity factor. So I'm just gonna mute you real quick. Okay, so we have a multivitamin called X Factor that is fully methylated. Now, this is something I had no idea about before I tried Plexus, but basically our bodies have a hard time absorbing like vitamins from Costco and things like that, because they are not fully methylated. And what that means is, like, vitamins they need to go through a process that helps your body to absorb it better. So like, our vitamins are basically just herbs stuck in a little capsule, so they're like ready to be absorbed. And there's like half of people have this gene mutation that doesn't allow them to absorb vitamins, so it's really hard for them when it's not methylated to absorb anything, really. So when you think about your gut, when you have all this yeast in there, it blocks your body from absorbing the vitamins, right? So once we get that all cleaned out and you have some space in there to absorb the vitamins, you want to be able to absorb them, right? And so that's why I call this the cherry on top, because the X Factor has aloe in it that's very healing, during all that scrubbing process that the probiotic is doing, and then you're able to absorb the nutrients you need. So that I always start people on those 4. Oh, I didn't talk about the Slim yet. Hold on. So we talked about the gut health stuff and the immunity stuff. The blood sugar stuff is the Slim, which is a pink drink. And I'll just really quickly just summarize it. Basically, it has amazing ingredients that help balance your hormones and your blood sugar. So blood sugar, insulin is your blood sugar, right? And that's like your master hormone. And so when you get that balanced, it balances all the rest of the hormones. It's like this little trickle down effect. And so obviously that's amazing for us women whose hormones can go all over the place once a month, right? Or more than once a month, and sometimes that's the case. But it's also with sugar cravings, because when your blood sugar is like this, you want sugar and then you crash, and then you want sugar and then you crash. Think of like soda, right? You drink soda and then you crash, and then you want more sugar, and then like our bodies do not want to live like that. And so that's why people become diabetic, because they want it to be straight. And so this helps with that, and it helps so much. It helps with hunger, and it helps with sugar control, all of that stuff. So when you combine those all 4, it really addresses all of the needs that our bodies have. And so I want to end this meeting saying that me joining this business was not something I wanted to do at first, because I'm just not I just never wanted to reach out to people about a business. I thought it was just annoying and dumb. But I have changed my mind completely, because I have these people right here on this call with us. These are amazing friends of mine, and their lives have been changed because of me sharing. And that is not me. I mean, it's totally Heavenly Father, but it's helped me see that I can be a tool and an instrument in His hands. And that's why I keep sharing. And it's also financially just blessed, so many financial blessings in my life as well. And it's that the last thing is personal development. I love how I've grown, because I'm not great at public speaking, but I'm getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things and trying to help people any way I can. And that's something like I've just grown so much through this business. And we are out of time, but I wanted to quickly have my people say one quick thing that's favorite about their business, or about the business. So Shannon, you go first. Just like one quick thing.
For me, my favorite thing is the community, the support and the love from this group of people and new friends that I have made. More to me, that's more important than, and has made more of an impact in my life than the money or anything else, is having this support system and community.
I love that. We love having you, Shannon. Rebecca.
So for me, the ability to quit teaching, I quit teaching after I had my son, and be able to stay at home and still contribute to the family budget has been amazing. I was looking for something. I had been looking for something for 3 years since I had my daughter, to be able to stay home and not have to go to work every day. So that's the best thing for me.
It's amazing. You're so courageous, and I love that you took that leap and we're able to stay home with your kids. It's so special. April.
The biggest thing for me is since I've had a life of anxiety and I didn't really quite realize it, one of the ways that it would show up is that I would run away from relationships. And so doing this business is like, I have really enjoyed reconnecting with people, and whether or not they decide to join Plexus or not is irrelevant. I have basically a platform to reach out and talk to people and get to know people and strengthen relationships. And anybody who has started with me has like that, just that relationship building, and just like goes into what Shannon was saying with the community. I really do love, this is a place for me. These are my people, and I love it.
Yes, I know. I feel like we're our own little family, and I just love you guys and all the things that you teach me and the things we teach each other. So this, when you join this company, it's not just joining a company. Like, you're joining a family, you're joining a health plan, you're joining, an amazing company for sure, but so much more than just that. And when I was looking at the price, it felt like it was a lot for me. But when I have friends who have looked into supplements for a long time, and it's actually very affordable. So the combo that we talked about is normally $99, and there's a membership fee of $49.95. No, is it 30? Oh gosh, I just said the wrong price on here. Dang it. No, it's not that expensive. The membership is for a year, and it's $39.95. I should know that. But this month it's only $9.95 because they're being so kind and wanting to give people a chance to try it for a whole year and get their business started at the same time in this economy that's so rough right now. And then they also have a 10% off sale. So basically out the door, you're getting these, the triplex, which is the Pink Drink, BioCleanse, and ProBio for $89, and then you pay the $9.95 membership. We also have a team sale, which is you get $20 back too. So it's like 3 sales in one. It's an amazing deal. You get all of the health and wellness and community, and we would just love to have you. So if someone who invited you to this call or sent you this recording, we would love for you to contact that friend and let them know if you're ready to get started. So thanks for joining us today.